cancer. So the ketogenic diet for cancer. And we know that cancer cells feed off of sugar. And so when you restrict your body, a ketogenic diet is essentially a diet that is made up of around typically 80% fat, 10% carbohydrates, and 10% protein, or maybe even, let's say, 70% fat, 20% protein, and 10% carbohydrates. But the carbohydrates are very, very minimal. So again, you can see your body is really burning fat for energy. But the reason why the ketogenic diet is effective in cancer treatment is that your body is the cancer cells are being starved. They have no sugar to feed off of, and so the cancer cells starve to death. That's why the ketogenic diet is effective in cancer treatment. The second thing that a ketogenic diet is effective for is weight loss. And the reason being, again, your body starts burning its own body fat for energy. And think about this, your body will also then continue to burn fat even while you're sleeping at night. So your body is burning fat 24/7. It's not just burning the fat you consume, it's burning your own body fat. That's why it's the most effective way to burn fat fast. And last but not least, the ketogenic diet is effective for Alzheimer's disease. In fact, there is a female medical doctor in Florida who treated her husband who had dementia and Alzheimer's with what she called the coconut ketogenic diet and said it cured his symptoms completely. And the reason why it would be effective is we know that part of what happens in dementia and Alzheimer's is the degeneration of the nerve system in the brain, and so you really need to support the brain nerve system. Well, a diet that has around 70% healthy fats, we know will help the brain, and we also know that ketosis and your body being able to burn fat for energy or utilize fatty acids is critical for the brain and for the natural treatment dementia. Now, if you want to know what a diet would look like on a ketogenic diet, again, it's going to be specifically you want to add 3 types of healthy fats in your diet: healthy saturated fats, omega-3 fatty acids, and then healthy fatty acids from things like that are omega-9 fats that are going to be found like in olive oil, avocados, and almonds, so sprouted nuts and seeds. The omega-3 fats, so eating a diet that's high in things like salmon and chia seeds and flax seeds, and then also getting good quality saturated fats from things like coconut oil and high-fat dairy like butter. So again, coconut oil and grass-fed butter or ghee, those are some of the most effective healthy fats you want to be consuming as part of this ketogenic diet. So again, I can tell you in working with thousands of patients over the years, the ketogenic diet is absolutely effective in the treatment of weight gain, as well as cancer, and also it's effective for the treatment of Alzheimer's. And so again, if you can follow a ketogenic diet, I recommend it. It is beneficial, but I only recommend it for about a 3 to 6 month period of time. You don't want to do it longer than that because your body does need carbohydrates long term to function at its absolute best. Hey guys, this has been Dr. Axe talking about the many benefits of a ketogenic diet.
All right, guys, that was Dr. Axe, and I'll put his link up on my website a little bit later. He was just talking about the ketogenic diet, which is the diet that I was on, and I saw amazing, amazing changes in just one month, 20 pounds without even trying. And all I did was I eliminated these things that you're supposed to eliminate in the keto diet, and I included more of the things that you're supposed to include. And so that's the basic rundown, what he was just talking about, the keto diet. We've been talking about the paleo diet, and we're talking about both today because they do cross paths. They do connect, but there's a much different outcome or reason behind why one person would choose a keto diet over the paleo diet. So quickly, and this is a fairly short clip, I'm going to play one more clip for you, paleo versus keto. Okay, here we go.
Seasonal allergies to food allergies. Dr. Peter Osborne with Town Center Wellness is here to talk about the latest research specifically for people with gluten intolerance. Good morning to you, and you become very well known in our area for helping a lot of people who have those weird symptoms nobody can figure out, and it seems to always be tied to some food sensitivity. First of all, I want to talk about why are food allergies on the rise? Everybody you talk to these days has some type of allergy, it seems like.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why, but if we kind of boil it down, in the last 30 years we've had more changes to our food supply than in the last 10,000 years. Some of these changes are the genetic manipulation of foods that we grow, the plants that we grow. Some of these changes are the additions of chemical pesticides and herbicides. And so with all these fast changes, we haven't had enough time, our human DNA hasn't had enough time really to evolve to be able to tolerate a lot of these changes, and it makes us sick.
Well, it seems like your life mission is to help all these people who are sick from this problem, and all you, it seems like, have the latest research on all of this. And so a lot of the medical community is starting to listen to what you have to say. You had a huge expo for over 1,000 people recently and came out with some new statistics, some new research that's going to scare a lot of people who are gluten intolerant, but you feel like it's important information they need to know. Let's talk about what you have found out about types of food that are often replacements for people with gluten intolerance.
So a lot of people that go on a gluten-free diet end up going and buying the breads and the pastas and the cereals that are made with corn and rice and other grains. And the problem with that is we've identified grains in corn, or rather gluten grains in corn, or gluten proteins in corn, that actually can trigger the same type of response that we see in patients with gluten sensitivity. And so the proteins are so similar that their immune systems will react equally to both types of grain. And so what happens is they go gluten-free, and then they eat a lot of corn products or rice products, and they end up perpetuating their illness.
And this has gone on to even finding out more about different types of seeds and even beans that could be causing some health problems and these people with these intolerances?
That's right. We've got a number of research studies that go back as early as the late 70s that show that there are classes of chemicals, like glutens is one class of chemical, but we also have another class of chemical called lectins that are found within beans and seeds. And these chemicals act very similarly to gluten in that they cause or can perpetuate leaky gut or intestinal permeability. And once this happens, when a person eats and they have leaky gut, they start developing food allergies to lots of different things.
This is scary for people because I would think because there's not going to be any replacement for them. It's not going to be able to just go to the gluten-free section because it sounds like you're talking grain-free is what they would need.
Well, yes, that is primarily what they need. A lot of the grains, again, they are inducers of autoimmune disease. They are inducers of intestinal permeability. And if we talk about seeds in general, all grains are seeds and all legumes are seeds. And so from a common sense perspective, look at what Mother Nature created the seed for. She created the seed as a vesicle to protect itself from predators. And so that seed's job is perpetuation of the species. And so as humans are predators of the seed, those seeds have to have some type of ability to protect themselves from extinction. And part of that is chemical warfare against the human gut.
And I have to say that you and I have done some stories through the years together on this, and you've been believing this for a long time about the different types of grains like corn and rice causing problems. And then when you get the flack from different organizations who are very upset about that, when your patients try to go grain-free, all of a sudden they are completely healed from all their problems. So I'm sure you're seeing in your own research that with your patients it's working.
Yeah, we've got thousands.
Okay, I'm cutting the clip that at that moment because I'll put that on my website if you guys want to hear the rest of it. But that just gave you a little bit of taste of what is the big trend with this keto and paleo and gluten-free. It's because the stuff we eat is making us sick. Processed foods, grains, our bodies weren't meant to consume those kinds of things. So getting back to, like I was saying in the paleo, getting back to the way that the caveman used to eat, those things weren't readily available to him. He couldn't go to the grocery store and pick up a chocolate cake. So, that's not the kind of stuff we should be eating either. That's the kind of stuff that makes us sick. So the basics of paleo and ketogenic diets are meat, fish, eggs, fruits, in a small amount, nuts, seeds, okay, and you could do herbs, spices, healthy fats and oils like coconut oil and olive oil, and these are the things to avoid. Processed foods, I'm going to say it 40,000 times, avoid processed foods, and this is going to lead into this coming Thursday's show. We have a special guest coming on the air with us about getting away from processed foods. So these are tied together. You're going to avoid processed foods, avoid sugar, soft drinks, grains, dairy products, legumes. I love that word. Artificial sweetener, vegetable oils, margarine, and trans fat. Now, you could consider coconut oil and olive oil vegetable oils, quote unquote, but coconut oil and olive oil are the foods, the oils that you can have. Okay, I'm gonna put a whole spec on this on my website. This is a really interesting topic for me. I did the keto diet. There's something called ketone test strips. You can go to smackfat.com and purchase a bottle of 100 ketone test strips. You urinate on the strip like you would a pregnancy test kit, and it tells you if your body's in ketosis and burn fat. And the only way to get that, to achieve that, is to cut out the sugars, cut out the wheat, the gluten, all kinds of stuff like that. Let's see, where was I? This really important note I wanted you to understand. Keto and the paleo diet share the low-carb DNA, but they've been developed for vastly different purposes. The keto and Paleolithic diets focus on some of the basic principles, but differ greatly in outcome. What's the difference? What it means to be keto is the keto diet is a tool for disease management, not weight loss. It's a common dietary intervention for conditions such as epilepsy. Okay, we're down to 4 minutes, so I need to speed up. All right, so the body burning stored fats, the basis of the keto diet, forcing your body to burn the fat it already has instead of feeding it more fat. All right, and the Paleolithic diet focuses more on eating meats under the assumption that the early cave dwellers had limited access to grains and greens and made to eat, a diet primarily composed of protein with plant-based foods as a focus. So carbohydrates, refined sugar, table salt, dairy, these are things in both diets that you want to avoid. And the difference between the two plans basically focuses on manipulating the 3 macronutrients, which are fats, carbs, and protein. And the paleo diet is more about food choices. You eliminate dairy, grains, processed foods, but balance the macronutrients any way you want. So, in short, both of these diets have incredible health benefits. And you heard in that little clip, and I'll put the clip on my website. I'm not going to tell you where, though. I'll let you go play hide and seek and find it, but it's going to be a whole series on this. I do believe that we're killing ourselves with what we're putting in our bodies, and we need to get back to a more natural way of eating the foods in their more natural states. I remember when I was in culinary school, we would bring things like green bell peppers, or just different vegetables, and the kids in the school, they would look at me and say, "Oh, that's not food, that's a seasoning." And I'm like, "No, that's food, a bell pepper food," and I was eating it like an apple, and they just thought that was so funny. But that's the healthy way to eat foods in their natural state, in their raw form mostly, or as close to raw as you can get it. But that doesn't mean that you have to eat everything raw. It worked for me and how much better I felt. So I want to thank you guys for joining us on today's episode, The Culinary Show with BLO. Tomorrow I'm going to do some more research, but hope Thursday we'll have all this info up on my website for you to go and explore and experiment a little bit. And I'm here to ask questions if you want. I didn't take any calls today because I was focused on getting the clips played for you so that the doctors could explain a little bit better. But listen in on Thursday. I have a special surprise guest speaker who's going to be joining us. And the